As day breaks, you rise and head on down to the temple. There's a nip in the air as autumn rolls around. It's been a long pilgrimage for the Feast of the Tabernacles. You'll be glad to be moving out of your booth. Living outdoors in a tent is not really your thing. But, well, it's tradition. You've heard about this new prophet, and you figured it'd be great to catch him speak before you head back on the dusty road home. You missed him yesterday. Apparently it caused quite a stir. Shouting out about being a river of living water. Crazy stuff. They say John the Baptizer is his cousin, so maybe it runs in the family. As you were walking to the market yesterday, you even heard people saying that he might be the Messiah. Really, the chosen one. Maybe today you'll get to judge for yourself. You're glad that at least you're travelling with your brother and his friends. Mother is tending to father who's been unwell, so they decided not to travel but to stay home this year. It's not been a good year. You are overdue to be betrothed, but your parents are undecided, and there's been a lot of bickering at home about it. Your brother keeps teasing you mercilessly about it, saying if they don't hurry up and decide, you'll be too old to be considered by anyone except old Shammai. Being a couple of years older, he's getting married this year. Thankfully, he's marrying your best friend. You love them both to bits. Your booth is next door to a family who is very religious. All night long with the praying. You've caught their little boys spying on you through the crack in their booth. The boys have been celebrating rather loudly until quite late. So you feel very tired and a bit cranky. It's been a long week, but so exciting being able to watch from the upper terraces all of the young men's dancing and singing. Finally, you arrive at the temple. It's busy, even though it's still early. You stand on your tiptoes and you see a fairly big group of people. Looks like it's him. You notice a group of scribes and Pharisees arguing with each other, as usual. And then in the centre of the group, you see the neighbour boy. He points to you and you smile, cheeky little thing. You start heading over to the group surrounding the prophet. Next thing you know, someone has grabbed your hair and starts dragging you. You scream out, "You're hurting me. What do you think you're doing?" You twist around. It's the neighbour, he says. "My boy saw you, filthy whore." You're stunned. Next minute, he throws you down on the floor next to the prophet. Your head bangs on the stone floor. "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now, in the law of Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say?" he shouts. Dazed and confused, you look up. It's blurry. The prophet seems to be writing on the ground, but you can't make it out. Everyone starts talking all at once. You hear someone say, "I've never seen her before. Who is she?" Someone else says, "I saw her staring and lusting at my son the other night at the festival." The prophet seems to be taking no notice and keeps scribbling on the ground. Then he stands up and says, "Let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." You try to stand and you make it to your knees. Surely this is a huge mistake. You want to scream out, "What's going on?" but your mouth doesn't seem to want to work. You stand and look in the prophet's eyes. You feel transfixed by his gaze. It's like he knows you. Like he's always known you. "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" You look around. Everyone's wandered off. All you see are their backs. No one, sir. There was a stillness in the air. And he quietly says, "Neither do I condemn you. Go your way, and from now on, do not sin again." You don't know what to make of all this. When you walk out of the temple, you bump right into the little boy. He is sitting alone on the steps, crying. He sees you and he starts crying louder. You sit down next to him and you put your arm around him. "It's okay," you say. He looks up at you and says, "I'm really sorry. I just wanted to make my father happy." You look down at him. You know you should be angry. After all, you nearly got stoned to death. But instead, you just want to comfort him, poor little guy. You feel like something's changed in you. And then you realize, in fact, you know, that really was the Messiah.